Welcome to Nkosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Welcome to Nkosi Talk Shows, everyone. Find your own voice, lead from within. Over to you, Amanda. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
You're muted.
Right. Good morning from Canada. I'm still a little sleepy, obviously. It's 6 a.m. here. So my name is Amanda Cottrell. I am a teacher, an artist, an illustrator, and an author. And my passion is helping people find their own unique creative capacities within themselves and to write and draw inspirational stories for books for children. Over to you, Caroline.
Yes, good morning from London. No, it's not. Sorry, not even morning. I haven't shifted from the morning. It's afternoon here in London, UK. So good afternoon. And so what I do is, as the writing facilitator, is I support soul-driven entrepreneurs in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So I'm Carol Ann, the writing facilitator, helping you unlock the writer within and get that book written. So, Nomsa, where are we at today? You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. So our topic today is how do I live a fulfilled life? So I guess is it Carol Ann? Did you choose the topic? Before I say anything, I would love to hear about why did you choose this topic?
I was just in a conversation with somebody, and they spoke about living a fulfilled life, and I just thought, that would be a lovely topic to explore. What does that mean? And this is what I love about this show, is finding topics just to chew over, explore, and find a bit more meaning in them and understanding. And so I just felt like exploring this topic. So hence the suggestion.
I like this topic because I feel like somebody might look at it as like, oh, living a fulfilled life. If you tell me like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that I might be able to achieve that. But I feel like living a fulfilled life is so different and unique to everyone. And so what is fulfilling to me would be different for Nomsa and different for Caroline and different for other people, because what fills your cup and what makes you feel good and your self-care is different for everyone. Like one of my self-care things is climbing mountains, and there are people who hate climbing mountains, but that is one of my things that fills my cup and makes me feel fulfilled, is being able to get out to the mountains where I live and go for a hike or go and actually legitimately climb to the peak of a mountain. But the whole time I'm hiking up it, I'm like, this is the worst idea ever. Why am I doing this? And then I get back down to the bottom and I'm like, oh, that was so awesome. I'm so glad we did it. So I think sometimes too, something that's fulfilling can also be something that's challenging and something that pushes you to your limits and something that you maybe struggle through a little bit, but it's because you work so hard to achieve it that it helps fulfill you. And so I think sometimes things that come easy maybe are fulfilling right at the start, but then after a while it doesn't become fulfilling anymore. So people would get bored of it. But if it's something that challenges you and really pushes you and inspires you, that's where you can find that peace where you actually feel really fulfilled. Because I know the whole way up my hike on Saturday, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. And then I got to the top and I was like, oh, this is lovely. And then hiking down, I was like, ow, ow, ow. It was straight up and straight down. But then after, I was like, oh, look at all those lovely pictures I took.
Yeah.
Over to you.
What
makes you feel fulfilled?
So I just wanted to follow up on what you were saying, because, yeah, I mean, I looked up the definition of fulfilled, and it actually says satisfied or happy because of developing one's abilities or character. And that's what I'm hearing you're doing. You're developing those abilities, that sustainability to move through something, to do something that stretches you. And it's about having no regrets. So if you don't do that, you didn't do that hike, there would always be that, what if, that regret. And therefore there isn't, the happiness is just, is eked away at. And that then doesn't allow you to feel fulfilled. So very much, yeah, that, you know, I agree with what you're saying there, Amanda, is pushing yourself through. And it's experimenting with failure, because actually there is no such thing as failure. As far as I'm concerned, it's just feedback. You know, you didn't quite get where you wanted to get to. Well, okay, it's just feedback. What stopped me? What could I now do? And it's just that, keep moving forward, that experimenting those, and developing your abilities, your ability to rise again out of what seems to be a failure or a setback. And yeah, just creating happiness within yourself. So yeah, I'm glad you got there, and you and you succeeded. I was like, oh, that sounds wonderful.
I was gonna say, I feel the same way about hot yoga classes. In the middle of the class, I'm like, why am I here? This is so hot. It's so gross. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, that was so wonderful.
Yeah.
Nomza, what about you? What fulfills you?
Basically, living a fulfilling life. How do I live a fulfilling life? Basically, I actually agree with you, Amanda, when you say sometimes you have to push yourself. Sometimes when you work hard, you have to push yourself to work hard. That's what you said, to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And Carol Ann spoke about experimenting failure and using that as an experience of learning. Basically, for me, is basically living in a fulfilling life is for me to actually take what I can from life and work hard and receive as much as I can and give back as well. If I can give back, always give back to my community. And basically to, like right now, today, we are giving back. To me, that is a fulfilling life. And build a proper relationship with people, spending my time wisely. I never used to worry about how I spend time before, but now basically I'm very, very careful who I give my time to. I'm not like going around and judging people. I have to put my time. I would prefer to actually give my time to charity for free than going to a coffee shop with people and gossip. So I'm very, very careful with how I spend my time. I would rather give my time to somebody else for 1 hour that will benefit that time, or somebody, like if somebody they need coaching, or just to go and have a coffee with someone that really, really needs me, and spend time with my family and friends instead of using that time to actually gossip or do anything. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it is about building relationships over possessions.
Yes.
And also really important what you were saying. Yes, take what you can from life, but give back as
Hmm.
well. So you have the balance.
Hmm.
There's this giving and taking, receiving. You need to give and receive and be willing to receive. But yeah, giving back. But definitely building relationships over possessions is really important. So having those moments with people, sharing, supporting them in some way. And but yeah, even as you say, in a voluntary capacity, supporting an organization is giving back.
Yeah.
And again, you're creating relationships there through that support, which is amazing. So yeah, it gives a sense of satisfaction. It's like it's something satisfied. It's deeper inside. So if you can feel satisfied and you can feel happy, but also forgive yourself if things don't go right or you make a mistake, doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to. Forgive yourself and forgive others quickly. Learn to forgive, because holding on to resentment and anger, that's not happiness, and that festers inside. So there's no fulfillment in that. So yeah, um, find being able to forgive
I think
and
sometimes when people are struggling with fulfillment in their lives too, they maybe need to look at like what hobbies fulfill them, or maybe even pick up a new hobby. Because if you're just spending all your time sitting at home watching Netflix, or maybe in a younger stage of your life spending lots of time at the bar or the pub or something, um, I think that when you start to look at what it is that you truly enjoy, or even starting new things, like I have sort of learned how to golf.
yeah.
And that's something that I find fulfilling. I don't do it that often, but learning a new hobby or learning a new sport or something can be something that can be really fulfilling, and you can start learning something at any age. So there's at any age you can start fulfilling your life with something that you maybe never, something that you always wanted to try, or something that you maybe did as a child and then can take back up as an adult as well, when you're like, oh, that made me feel so fulfilled when I was younger. And when I work with people, I always think that I always say to them, what's something that you could do for hours and hours and hours as a child that you don't maybe do anymore, and that might help you feel more fulfilled. And for me, when I asked myself that question, it was art. Like I would draw and paint and do art for hours and hours and hours as a child, and through university and working, I just never had time for that. And then as an adult, and after having my daughter, that's something that I brought back into my life and has really helped fulfill me in a way that was missing, and that was making me feel unsettled, and that there was something really missing in my life, and that piece was that piece that I enjoyed as a child so much, which was art. And I know that some people are like, oh, art is giving like gonna give me an anxiety attack. And that's not your fulfillment. Your fulfillment might be woodwork, um or doing like even maybe going to plays, or going or acting or something. There's lots of things you can do as an adult, even that are fun, acting plays, or different things that you could do. Join a like a band or a jam session or something. There's so many different things that you can do. You just have to start looking for them, and when you start looking for them, they'll show up.
They certainly will show up. What you say, once you start looking for them. And then having those conversations, just talking with other people, because they might know someone that knows something. And it's always in the conversation that things come to life. And it is about chasing your dreams and not quitting on them, not giving up. But like you did, you enjoyed something when you're younger. Just because you stopped doesn't mean that you necessarily gave up on it. It is something you can always pick up again later on. You know, if you enjoyed it, then yeah, life does get in the way sometimes and takes over. But it's then reviewing it and going, okay, having a sense of, are you satisfied? Or is there something gnawing away inside you? And I know that when I was teaching, I loved teaching. And before I actually got a teaching post, the job that I was in, and even when I had my children to start with, there was this gnawing away at me that I knew I wanted to teach. I got a teaching post and I loved it, and I felt very, fulfilled. But then as time went by, it felt like there was something else started to niggle me and started to go, but there has to be something else here. So it's becoming aware of that. And that's when other things showed up. And as I say, I then found educational kinesiology, brain gym, and my life took on another turn. And I'm feeling more fulfilled now than I was then, because it's stretched me in other ways. It's opened me up to new ideas and new capabilities and abilities that I never dreamed of that I had. Okay, there's things that I've left behind, and there are things that I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could do that again. And I think I have to be present with what's here right now and just go, okay, so what is my purpose? What's my life purpose? What is it I'm meant to be doing right now? And I'm aware that I don't have that niggle, that there must be something else for what I'm doing. When I sit and I'm quiet and I'm with myself, I can let go of all those things that, okay, yes, I used to do, but actually what I'm doing right now is what I'm meant to be doing, and what I'm finding fulfillment in when I really let myself sink into it, move with it, talk about it. There's a level of fulfillment and happiness that's coming through that I never thought possible, and it is allowing myself to take those steps and be with the challenging times when doubt sets in. There's always doubt comes to test you or in some way, but just be with those doubts, do the inner work. And then something, because I always know when there's I feel that resistance, I've come to learn that actually, if I stick with that resistance and that desire to go, oh, let go of it, I can't do this anymore, I know that actually beyond that, there's a breakthrough for me to have that's going to have me move forward in the most amazing way. So I sit with that, work with it, and you know what? It always happens. I have a breakthrough, and it's like, wow. Life just takes on another level of happiness, and joy. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's just different layers, different openings, and as I say, when one door closes, another one can open, or it might be a window, or it might be something else somewhere else. It's just look around and see what is meant to be opening for you. So it's quite an adventure, but just keep finding your purpose and sitting with, is there that niggling feeling that there's something else that you're meant to be doing? Because if there is, then open up to that, because you're not living a fulfilled life. There's something that you're not happy with, and it's actually facing it and addressing it and moving forward, and maybe having to leave some things behind. You never know, and just let go and trust, rather than holding on to, oh, I've got to hold on to this. This is what I know. let go. Trust the process and have faith. And I remember many years ago doing some work with some ladies, I had a group of ladies around, and we were doing some work and on goal setting and where we were at, and literally what came out of it was let go and let God. And it just felt, wow, that felt really profound. And so that was quite a few years ago, but I find it always comes back to that. So yeah, letting go, let God, let the universe have faith, whatever you wish to put on that. So what's your experience, Nonsa, Amanda?
I like the let go and trusting the process when it comes to life. I feel that when you trust and stand still as well, and you will have a fulfilling life, because what happens is if you keep showing up, if there's something that you really want to fulfill in life, you feel that this is something that I need to achieve, and if you keep showing up and trusting, like what you were saying, Kero Ann, this is my favorite word, that I basically have to trust God, and every decision that I make, I always have to seek Him to assist me through whatever I want to do. And that gives me a fulfillment, because when I fail, I don't see a failure as a failure. I see it as I actually, if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have known the outcome. So I'm happy with whatever the outcome that might be come my way. So I'm happy because I made that decision to actually do it. Because if I don't, I will never know what could have been. So I've always said, if I want to do something, I push myself to do it. And even if it means that I'm not going to succeed, it's fine. I just say I'm grateful to God that I went through that process. And it's like right now with the coronavirus and stuff, I'm actually becoming sad, because all my friends that I left 2020 before we went on lockdown, they were married, and now I'm meeting them. I'm like, oh, how is your husband? They're like, I'm divorced. I'm like, what now? I'm honestly, I'm just getting, I'm like, this is, we're meant to life, we're meant to embrace life. Honestly, I just feel like we went on lockdown, and I'm like, yesterday I saw one of the my friend that I know, and I was like, wow, I've not seen you for a very long time since lockdown. How are things? And she was like, I'm happy, I'm divorced. I'm like, what now? So it's like basically we went to coronavirus, and there's been so many changes in people's lives. So I'm like, if that's what the path that we're meant to take, be it, because you don't know. So it makes me look at my expectations as a coach, that I'm glad that I changed my attitude, that I don't want people, the person that I'm dating, to be like me. And I do not want to control that person, because during lockdown, I had to create my own space, like giving myself topics, like researching. I think Legacy Wealth Talk and Gossip Talk Show started during lockdown. So I think I basically said, thank God that I made that decision. If I had focused on my men and say, I'm going to focus on these guys that are at home, maybe we wouldn't be together, because we'll be suffocating each other. But I use it as a time of being grateful that I have my family, and I was fulfilled, although financially it wasn't good, but I felt that I was fulfilled just having my family, because every single day somebody was losing their family members. And I used that, it's like we basically have to be grateful for the knowledge that we have, because that knowledge it helps us to build the proper relationships with people. And the people who haven't got that knowledge that we have, the relationships basically don't last. But with our knowledge that we have, we hold on to be grateful, we hold on to faith, and we are trusting. Now, as long, like myself, I always say to myself, as long I'm not being abused in that relationship, I don't see a point of changing somebody to become what I want. As long I'm happy and they are happy, and my relationship is meant to be where it's meant to be. Anything else, I don't get involved. But before, if you had met me 10 years ago, I would be spending time wanting somebody to get me instead of me getting myself.
Oh, what a shift, eh? What a shift.
Yeah, it's a big shame.
Yes, yeah. And I think what you were saying is important as well. There's something you said in there about not wanting to change the other person. Why would you want to change them? Is not the person that you were attracted to? You know, what was it about them that attracted you? Why would you want to change them? And if you want to change them, then to me, there's something that isn't authentic within that relationship. You're not being authentic. And yeah, it is about accepting them, getting to know each other, and being willing to adapt and grow together, you know, understanding each other's needs and being in each other's world. And that can create fulfillment. So yeah,
I think
interesting.
sometimes when you look at living a fulfilling life too, you may start to look at some of your friendships and look at ones that are positive and loving and fulfilling versus ones that are toxic to your mental health, and slowly like split paths with those people who have a negative impact on your life, and say thank you for the time that I had, and learn what you needed to learn from that situation. But also there's times where you need to move on and move through and be grateful for that relationship and what you learned from it, but also recognize when those relationships aren't being fulfilling to you, and then find a way that you're going to learn from that relationship and move on to a more fulfilling path for you, because what looks fulfilling to one person is going to be very different to another person. And I think that that's something that's so empowering too, is that you may be lost and be like, I don't know what fulfills me. And if you were to look at somebody that you think is really fulfilled, you might be like, oh, maybe if I start making jewelry like my friend who's a jewelry designer, maybe that will fulfill me. But you're not that person. And for me, one of my really good friends, she loves to cook. I do not love to cook. It is like one of the least favorite things on my list of things to do ever. So when she like breaks a piece of jewelry or needs a piece of art or something, she comes to me. I'm like, oh, I would love to do that for you. But and then she sends me food because she knows. She's like, what do you eat for dinner? I'm like, a bowl of cereal. Because cooking doesn't fulfill me, but I know that there's so many people who love to cook, who love to look up recipes, who love to experiment with recipes. That is not me. I know that that will never be fulfilling for me, but I know that and I'm grateful for my friends who that is fulfilling for them. Some people love to sew. Sewing is another like nemesis of mine. Can like sew a button on, but that's about it. But I think that each people has their own unique things that are super fulfilling to them. I know that I love to read. I read every single day, and reading is like one of my happy places. But not everyone finds fulfillment in that. And so I think it's also being accepting of other people's unique things that help them make them feel fulfilled. And I think that's something that we really have to open up to and be aware of as well, especially if someone's struggling. You can't just be like, do this and this and this and you'll be happy, because what makes me happy is not the same as what makes Nomza happy, or what's the same thing that makes Carol Ann happy. And I think you have to find those own unique things within yourself that really truly make you feel fulfilled and inspired, because never in my life am I going to feel inspired by cooking something. I'm gonna be like, I hate this. This is the worst. Can I just have like a salad?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's lovely, because I love cooking.
Yeah.
I love spending time. I find it quite meditative. You know, as I'm collecting everything together and I'm cooking, my mind is very often creating or thinking about things, you know, and I just love that feeling. And so I do love cooking. And there are times when I'm tired and I'm thinking, oh, can't be bothered, you know, but generally it is something I've always enjoyed doing. And I used to enjoy putting on, you know, we had friends round and I'd cook something. But what you were saying about allowing other people to support you with things that they enjoy doing, it gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them satisfaction, helps them to feel fulfilled. And it allows you to then do something that you really do enjoy doing. And that's brilliant. And I know, you know, and it's the same with paying for somebody to do a job for you. I know I used to have a cleaner when I was married, because we both worked full time. And I just went, you know, I hate housework anyway, and I don't have time for this. Why don't I pay someone else to do it? Which means I can then get on with the other things that I want to. And the lady that we used to have, she was in her element. She loved cleaning, you know, and she felt really happy and fulfilled. And so for me, it was money well spent, because we'd come home the day that she'd been in the house and I go, oh, thanks, you know. It felt good and it made me happy. And it meant that I was then able to focus on the family or focus on other things that I needed to get on with, that I wanted to get on with and that I enjoyed. So again, and I think that's important in business when they talk about delegating at work or finding outsourcing work, things that you actually don't need to do. Because to really fulfill yourself in your business and be successful, you only need to really focus on what you uniquely can do in it. Outsource everything else. You know, if there are things you don't enjoy doing it, why are you doing it? Because you're not allowing your business to fulfill you. And I've heard that so many times over the years, and I'm really getting to that point of, yeah, I understand this now. And I'm actually taking steps towards getting somebody, you know, a virtual assistant or someone to do things for me. And I know last year when we, was it last year, and I think maybe a bit of the year before, I got my granddaughter to start doing some things for me. And just some simple things. And, you know, I thought, oh, this is what it's about. Because she enjoyed doing it. She was very well organized. And I paid her. It meant she earned some money. And, you know, and it meant I was able to get on with the things that I really enjoyed doing. And my mind was then clear. My heart was happy because the other job was getting done, you know, and she did a great job with it. So, yeah, if you're in business, do take on board, what is it you could outsource that niggles you, that doesn't give you pleasure, and allow someone else who really enjoys doing that to do it for you, because that's what will enhance your business, and it will make your business more fulfilling, and therefore your life more fulfilling as well. So that's where I'm at with my business. I'm, about to take those steps into getting a VA, someone that can do some work bits for me that I'm really like, the techie bits. I've had enough of trying to sort it out. You know, I've done bits of it. Time to hand it over. You know, so
I
do you have?
agree. I agree with you, Carol Ann. Sometimes, and Amanda, sometimes you have to give somebody, like we do the broadcasting. I was looking at it the other day. I was like, this is taking my time to broadcast, and then I have to go on social media. I have to edit, and I was like, why can't I just find somebody to just actually do the editing while we are doing live? Somebody who can just do the broadcasting for me, the background. So I'm in the process of I don't know how I'm gonna go about it. Whether I'm gonna find, I need somebody that basically I can get along with, to be able to be somebody to actually broadcast and do the work, because I don't want to end up doing the work myself. But I'm in the process of finding that person. I made the first move and sent emails to their agencies and said, listen, this is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for somebody to broadcast and proper somebody to do sales and marketing for me, because if I'm going to take my business to the next level, but then people are scaring me that next month we might go back to lockdown. I've been looking at
that's
I've
next
been
month.
looking at all messages on WhatsApp. I'm like, if I hire people and then we go on lockdown, I'll go bankruptcy. Then that's no good. People are saying we might go back to lockdown in September. I don't know where does that come from. I'm hoping that is not true. But I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna continue the process of I do need to get somebody basically to get things done. I think I'm gonna get 3 or 4 people for different jobs. That's what I've realized, that my life will be fulfilled if I can just find 3 people just to get all this done. I just come online and broadcast, and then I'll be done. And you talk about Carol Ann, that you had a cleaner before. I remember when I retired football, I tried to live a normal life and said, okay, I'm gonna clean this house. And I look at the time I start cleaning, I look at the time, it's taking me 3 hours. And I was like, is that how big this house is? I cannot stand this cleaning for 3 hours, just cleaning the house, my own house. I was like, this is too much. It's really, really too much. But then I think it makes it, when you know what is the job that it needs to be done, when you do get somebody in, it makes you appreciate it. And like Amanda, you were talking about cooking. I don't mind cooking, but it's not really my thing that I can say I'm fulfilled when I'm cooking. I'm fulfilled when somebody else cooks the meal for me. Honestly, it's not my favorite. I'm with you, Amanda. Cooking is not my favorite. But I cook for my children, for people in the house, but it's not my favorite. So every time when somebody, when their dad is off weekend, he loves cooking. I always say, guys, anyone who likes to cook and somebody will volunteer. Like in the week, my daughter, she cooks like maybe twice a week. She's 14, she loves cooking. So I always say, oh, would you like to cook? But when she cooks, you will take 2 hours cleaning. She takes everything out. Uh, Basically, she loves it, but you have to pay the consequences of washing up later, because she just gets everything out. Nothing gets put back, nothing gets washed. She just cooks and messes everything up. So I think it is nice when you actually do the things that you love and you are able to say, this I don't like, this I don't like it. It is nice. It means you actually, you know yourself. Like myself with work, there are some jobs that I know I'm good at. There are some jobs that I know I'm not good at. I was talking to the guy the other day who was doing the assessment. I was like, I actually need to understand the numbers, the money. And I was like, why do you need to understand the numbers? And I was like, Somebody else is doing it for me, but I think for me to get to where I need to go, I need to understand the numbers properly, how things are done properly. And he was like, okay, that's what you want. We're gonna provide that training for you, because it's just being able to actually recognize your weaknesses and your strength. And for me, when I'm able to say out loud that this is what I need to get help with, or this is what I'm good at, and this is what I'm not good at, it gives me fulfillment, because I'm able to improve when it comes to life, and I'm able to improve my life and get my life to the next level. So it is fine. Like Kamau, yesterday I did broadcasting on my own. I miss him. He's off for 1 month.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not used to this broadcasting on my own, but I think I'm gonna get used to it. And it's good to know that he works really, really hard, because he's one of the speakers that really, really works really hard. But when I was broadcasting yesterday, it just felt so different. But Wednesday is fine, because no one seems to be putting their name down on Wednesday. I don't mind broadcasting on my own, but on Mondays, because I'm used to him, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this on my own today. Okay. It's over to you, Kero Ano Amanda.
this is it. When you get used to something, when it's not there, it's like, oh. So yeah, so maybe it's there's something for you to grow here. There's out of this that you got used to something. Well, it's no longer around, so get unused to it. There's something for you to grow into and to pick up. So there's always a lesson in anything that happens for you. And so yeah, but well done for keep going and seeing your way through it, because yeah, and it's a bit like when you actually step out of a relationship. I mean, I was married for almost 24 years, and I knew my ex-husband for 2 years before we got married. So once that was over, it was like, wow, as much as it was the right thing to do at the time, there was I became aware of a partnership that was there, and we used to do that, now I've got to do it. And so there were things that I missed about his being there, that I then had to get used to. And that was what was I found tough at times, because it is, you're on your own, you now need to do it and get used to that. So again, it's part of that life learning, isn't it? And out of that I've grown, and did I actually fully miss that relationship? I think it was because we got in a rut and we got comfortable. This period of time, it's now been 22 years since we parted company. It's almost as long as we were married, and I'm thinking this period of time has had such a different feel to it, to the period of time that we were married. I feel more fulfilled. There's a satisfaction that has come through these 22 years, and it's been, I don't know where these 22 years have gone to. It's like, whew, they've sort of zipped by. Have they been tough? Yeah. Have they been challenging? Yeah. But I've grown through it, and so completely different. So yeah, it's part of life's rich tapestry. And something you were saying about, I just thought, it's about that they might be saying, or they're talking about us going into lockdown in September. We're still in August, and actually whatever you focus on increases. So why are people focusing on lockdown? Why aren't you focusing on life and living, and what can I do to have a fulfilled life? Why bring it back in, because what you focus on is what you get. it's what increases it, you know. So yeah, those conversations, what put them to the side. If it happens, it happens, and you can still live your life. That if you focus on that, how can I live a fulfilled life regardless of what happens? And that's what you've got to focus on, because that's what you'll then get.
Yeah, I was just going to say something similar to that, that life has its ups and downs, and there may be times where you feel very fulfilled, and then something happens like a pandemic, and you're like, whoa, maybe life isn't as fulfilling as I had previously felt. And that I think that you have to then, when things shift, is continue to find things to focus on that are fulfilling to you. So I know for myself, like going to the gym and going to yoga and going skiing in the mountains, all of those things are fulfilling to me. But then during the lockdowns here, all the gyms were closed and the yoga studios, and I found that really a struggle, because that was something that was so fulfilling in my weekly routine. And so then we had to find something different that helped us to get through and to feel fulfilled. And sometimes finding that struggle too makes you more grateful for when things open up again, or when things start to change again. And I know having the yoga studios open is like every time I go, I'm like, yes, I'm so grateful that this is open again, because I missed it so much. And it's just some of those things that you took for granted. And then this last year and a half, you're like, whoa, those things, I need to not take them for granted anymore, because I find them so fulfilling. And I'm so grateful that I can have the ability to go out and go and do those things. And I think that's something really important too, if you want to live a fulfilled life, is to also have gratitude, to have gratitude for the things in your life. And if you're not feeling very fulfilled, look around and find out what you can be grateful for in your immediate position. So if you're struggling through a really messy divorce right now because you found out that things didn't work out during COVID, find out what it is that you can be grateful for in this moment. Can you be grateful for the friends that are supporting you? Can you be grateful for the lessons that you learned through that relationship? Can you be grateful for how much stronger you've become by being able to get out of an unhealthy for you relationship? For me, when people say like, "Oh, you're divorced, I'm so sorry," I'd be like, "No, like I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that that happened, because I learned so much about myself. I was able to write children's books. I had time to write children's books because I actually wasn't a full-time mom 24/7, because I had some time to myself once I got divorced, whereas when I was married, I never had any me time. And I think that's something that's so important. And as I've learned and grown as a person, the me time is really important to me. And because I've also have found that I'm like an extroverted introvert, where I can be like out and outgoing and everything, but I also really value my at home time. My at home time is really, really important to me. And so I think sometimes we have to be really grateful for those lessons along the way. And as you find gratitude in even things that are challenging, you can become more fulfilled each and every day. And so if you're not feeling fulfilled right now in your life, try to list 10 things that you're grateful for. And then maybe each day before you go to bed, say the 3 things that you're most grateful for in that day. And then when you see somebody that you know and care about and are grateful for, tell them. Share with them how grateful you are for them. I have this silly little cat that I'm grateful for every single day, because she's such a sweetheart and she makes me laugh all the time. And I like purposely make a point of being like, I'm grateful for my cat, and like just things like that, where you can say, twist everything into not everything, because some things are really challenging, but definitely if you've had a really rough day, like yesterday I had a really rough day because the fires in, I don't know if you know, where like one of the provinces in our country is basically on fire, and lots of people are losing their homes, they're losing their cabins, they're losing yeah, the fires are really bad here right now, and I was really struggling with the fact that one of my favorite childhood memories burned to the ground last night, and but I also had to think, like, at the end of the day yesterday, like, what was the best things about my day, and what am I grateful for today? Well, I'm grateful for all of these things that happened. I'm grateful for going out to my aunt's farm and helping dig in the garden, because gardening is one of my favorite things to do. I find it very fulfilling. And but at the same time, know that even within that day, there was huge struggles. And so if you can come out of something where you had a really rough day, find some gratitude somewhere within that day, whether it's just a kind smile from somebody, or grateful that you have heat in your home, or that there's not a fire near your house, because things could be so much worse. Like, and yeah, there's definitely things in the world that are going on, that even though you may feel like you've had a challenging day, some people are having a much worse day. And I think that that's something that helps fulfill you, right? Is finding out that there are things even on your roughest days that you can be grateful for.
Guys are
Absolutely.
having problems with wildfire in Canada. How bad is it, Amanda?
They're really bad. Like, the fires are really far away from us in Calgary, and our air quality is really terrible right now. We have, like, the smoke is so bad that sometimes you can't really go outside. Um, there's in Vernon and Kelowna, there's evacuations. My friends that came from Vancouver last week to visit me, they got evacuated from their cabin on the Wednesday, and then came and stayed here for a couple nights, and then they went back to Vancouver. But where, like, my parents have a cabin out by theirs too, and we might lose all of the cabins. So there, and but then people are losing their houses too. Like, we're lucky that it's a cabin, it's not our home, and there are people losing their homes right now, and like it's not the whole province of BC, but it feels like the whole province of BC is on fire, because we have such bad air quality here. It's just blowing in our direction too. But there's pictures online that are just like, it's so eerie from out where they are, and in BC, there it's a scary time here with the wildfires. But also so grateful for all of the firefighters and all of the people who are doing their best to keep everyone safe.
I hope you guys stay safe.
And it's having those prayers and gratitude through what's going on, and the fact that you've lost a childhood experience, the cabin that you used to go to. And I hear there's the gratitude that you've got the memories, for that. So no one can take your memories away from you. They're there with you, which is one thing. And so, yeah, you're right. It's always something to look grateful for. And as you say, it's your parent. There's cabins. Parents have got a cabin. It is a cabin. It's not their home. People are losing their homes. And what was interesting was Brandon Bayes. She lost her home to a fire, and she talks about just going around and looking at what was there, what she could see in the ashes, and but she wasn't sad or down about it. And this is what the news people, the journalists couldn't understand. They were sort of, well, aren't you sad? Aren't you, what? And she just said, I'm just looking, and I'm grateful for what I can find. And it was a different attitude that they just couldn't understand, but it helped her to move on from it, you know. And I think this is what it's about. It happens, but it's how you deal with it is how you can then feel that, you know, you get that fulfillment out of life. These things that happen, it is how you deal with it, and that's what's important. You know, you can sink in it and think, oh, poor me. And this is what the journalists were looking for in Brandon, you know, this, oh, poor me, poor me. And she wasn't giving it to them. They couldn't understand it at all, you know. It happens. You just have to salvage what you can and move on and grow again, because there's always a way of growing out of it. But at the time, it probably doesn't seem that way. But it can happen. Can happen. Again, it's trusting. It's letting go and letting God. Trust the universe. Trust the process. And also maybe looking at what you've asked for. You know, what is it you've been asking for? And you've suddenly got this. Well, it might not be what you've been asking for or seem to be or what you want. But maybe the universe has gone, actually, this is what you need. And it's like, oh, if you look at it in those terms, all right, if the universe is saying I need this right now, there's a reason here, something for me to learn and grow, which then you find what it was you were after and wanting comes out of that in a roundabout way. You know, it is quite amazing. And because I always remember, I think I've said before about when I wasn't well, and I could hardly walk. And I remember thinking I just wanted somebody to hug, to cuddle. And my daughter wasn't well, so she asked if my granddaughter could come and stay with me, who was only about 2 at the time. And so I had, you know, she came and stayed with me, and we would sit on my settee. I'd be playing my music, and literally we'd be sleeping and cuddling through the day. And I remember thinking, this isn't what I said I want, you know, I thought I needed. What I wanted was someone to hug, but the Lord sent me my granddaughter. I had what I needed, was that company, those hugs, that company. It was just amazing. And when I let go of the, oh, you know, give me what I wanted, well, actually, yes. And I swear she helped, you know, she really helped me better, because she used to, you know, tap one knee and say, that one all right. And then she tapped the other knee and she'd go, that one hurt, and she gives it better, you know. I swear she gives me better. Bless her. But it was when I realised, okay, the Lord has sent me my granddaughter, because those were such magical moments, just sitting on the settee, snuggled up and listening to the music. It really was a very special time. And there was that sense of fulfillment, I guess, because there was happiness there, you know. So yeah, I really do treasure those memories, and I'm very grateful. So it is being able to reframe and look at what does come your way and what is it you've been asking for. Yeah, because as I say, it's not always what you think you want, but the universe gives you what you need. Yeah, interesting.
Anyway, we just arrived at the end of time, and for what Carol Anna was saying, basically, you know, life gives you blessings without you realizing. You just have to be grateful and basically just see life for what it is and appreciate it, because we always want more, but we don't appreciate those little things that God puts in our way. So I've learned to appreciate those little things each and every day. I appreciate myself getting up in the morning. I was talking to my mom the other day. She was saying the same thing Carol Ann is saying. My stepmom died, so she used to live with one of my daughter's son. So then my daughter took her daughter to my mom, and her mom was like, "You all grown up now, so I always wonder if I wasn't living with him, who would I be living with?" I was like, I'm so grateful that every single day I get to talk to him. We get to do things together, and we get to spend quality time together. And sometimes I wonder, God works in so many ways. I was like, at least they're having fun. But then she's so unlucky because none of the kids are calling her nanny. They all copy. If somebody calls my mom's sister, if they are around, they call her sister, or we call her mom, and they all end up copying. None of them is calling her nanny, apart from my kids.
Oh.
Yeah, my kids call her nanny.
Mm.
The rest they call her mom, and she's like, she had her youngest granddaughter went to visit her sister. Now she's calling her sister when she's with her.
Nice.
Sister Clara. My mom is called Clara. She goes, Sister Clara. She's like, I'm your grandmother. So,
Yeah.
any words of encouragement, Amanda, before we leave to our audience?
I think that if you are struggling with finding what's fulfilling to you, is start some new hobbies and look for things that you can be grateful for even on your roughest days.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Carol Ann?
That ties up very much with what I'm gonna say is, don't let life get in the way of personal and professional happiness and fulfillment. Take charge. Take charge. So as Amanda said, find some hobbies, find something else that really helps you feel happy and fulfilled. So yeah, take charge.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For me, is learn to enjoy your own company. If you learn to enjoy it, like Carol Ann is saying, take charge of your life, enjoy your own company. And what did you say, Amanda?
Even on your roughest days, find something to be grateful for.
Oh,
and
yes.
Find some new hobbies.
See, everything is linked together. And thank you so much. We are here Monday to Friday at Ngozi Talk Shows. If you're watching this video later, please press some heart button and share some love with your friends and family. And you can go to our page and get in touch with us if you want to get in touch with us. Live with grace, everyone, and God bless you.